I'm kind of curious. Has Beba, when you've met people who've been to Madaban, does anyone call you Turkish delights?
Well, I haven't heard this at all.
Because in the UK, Turkish delight, I'm not sure if it's vegetarian now, but we used to like that. It's a little bit like Cindy Halva, but um,
I think it's vegetarian,
yeah,
David. I think so.
um, but I've
But
got
you
a bit.
can't be sure, like now you
No,
can't be sure about anything.
no, you can't. But I've got a little. Yeah, because I'm aware that it's being translated. Um, actually, oh, my internet connect. Um, I've got a little sign saying my internet connection is unstable. If by chance it drops, it usually comes back pretty much straight away. And if that really doesn't work, I'll jump onto my phone and you can carry on talking, Nessie, for
Well, I
we,
prefer you do the talk,
I
brother
know, I'm
David.
only joking. We have a we have a quite sort of radio program that used to be on in the
I
UK.
start praying, for the
No, it's
internet to
okay.
be stable.
But we had a radio program in the UK with a team of they were comedians and people who were and they'd play a song and then they'd stop the music and then they would have to carry on singing to see if they could when they put the song back on again, they all joined in at the same time. Anyway, um okay, so so this is a cooking lesson, right? This is what I've understood. We're going to cook different types of potatoes. Is that correct? I hope I haven't misunderstood the topic. No, I'm only joking. Um, I was a little, or I'm always a little bit concerned when I'm talking, when it's being translated, because us British have a sense of humor that sometimes people don't get. So maybe the translators, I can indicate if I do tell a joke and you can't really translate the humor, but the translators could perhaps say something like, "David's just told a joke. Please laugh."
I can also tell you, brother David, if I can't get the joke, then maybe you can explain.
No, it's okay. Um, I'm okay. So how the topic came about, I think some years ago at the integrated retreat, the what's called now called the integrated retreat with the teachers and coordinators and in Madaban, I was asked to do a top one of the little group, and I don't quite know where this title came from, but I just thought 100 ways to cook a potato. So so I'll tell you in advance. That it was actually 100 ways to be self-conscious. That the potato was self-consciousness, and I just thought we'd make it a little bit light-hearted by 100 ways to cook a potato. Uh, and actually, a few people did ask me, is it a cooking lesson? I said no, um, but it's quite a nice topic, and also I think the theme, isn't it? What just looking at what you'd put on the flyer. Um, you see, I don't know if you can everyone see that? Now this is a bottle of raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. So some of you might use this. Uh, I just went down into the kitchen to see if I could get a bottle. Um, why I think this is kind of important is, we're all individual. When we look at Baba's knowledge, there are so many points about each soul is unique, each soul has its own part, each soul has its own fortune, each soul has its own sin scars, and and so on. In fact, uh, I saw Brother Yogesh, he had these very little notebooks. I thought, that's good, I'm going to get one of those. So I just sort of collect points like that. Um, and why I why I was thinking about this many, 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 many years ago. Some of you know that uh, my dear sister Maureen in London, uh, who's some of you know, we are technically still married, been married a long time. But she's now my spiritual sister. She's a mentor for me. She's a line manager, etc., etc. But in the early days, I put on. I don't actually play sport now. And I do exercise, go to the gym and stuff. But when I was younger, pretty much when I was young, that's pretty much all I did was playing out. So football, cricket, tennis, golf, anything pretty much that moved. Um, I was there, so I was kind of passionate about this. But if I'm being really, really honest, I could not ever imagine myself sitting in front of groups of people on Zoom or whatever and talking about spiritual stuff. Actually, I was, you know, when it was during a football match, they used to call me the man. If I was a children's dentist in a dental setting, mostly with children, um, I had no confidence of doing that. And when in the very, very early days, and this is going back to the mid to late 70s when Maureen was still here, she would do really naughty things like sisters do. She would say, "Oh, David, what do
Brother David, I think your internet is not stable again. Can you hear me?
okay? Yeah, you. Can you
We
hear me now?
There is a cut.
Hmm.
Yes, we can hear you now, but for the last 30 seconds we couldn't hear you.
Okay, not to worry. Um, so what I would suggest we do, because we know the direction of travel, that at some point our internet uh, up and down, unstable, and at some point is going to disappear, don't we, brothers and sisters? So what I try to do now, and I suggest, if it does, just you can practice one of your drills and send lovely vibe that I come back, and if I can still see you notice. So if I really, you can put your thumbs down if I do disappear, and I'll jump onto my phone. In fact, I think what I might do, I might connect on my phone and I'll put it outside. And if it really goes, I'll just go and grab the phone. So does that make you feel more relaxed now, Nesse? That I'm not going to completely disappear?
Yes, maybe a suggestion, maybe your phone, you can use the camera of your phone, but maybe the sound from your computer or whatever.
Oh, I see. The thing is, it's my camera. Um, I'm not very good. Well, okay, let me. Anyway, the point being, I'll sort of carry on talking as I'm fiddling around. But I think if I put my phone on, it's going to make lots of funny noises because I'm close to the computer. Anyway, not to worry. Um, so meeting ID. Okay. But I think we were, this is a slight aside, but we had a meeting yesterday uh, in London about emergency planning. Apologies for not looking at the camera, but um, and we were talking about this, about how um, it's important to have the physical things in place as well. Oh, okay. Continue. Please continue the story about more. Okay. Oh dear. I got too many stories. Okay. So back, I'm not quite sure where I got with the story of Maureen, but basically when we came, Maureen very, you know, Maureen very quickly launched into her as if she was like a BK from from previous and got into teaching. And I wasn't really into that. Um, so she would, if sometimes when a new student would come, she'd go, "Oh, brother, I've got quite a lot to do in the office. Why don't you sit with this new student and just have a little chat?" And I nearly died a death. Um, and uh, actually, no, I shouldn't say it, but there is that expression, death by a thousand cuts. It felt a little bit like that until I gradually realized, and this is in a sense a little bit where we come in with the potatoes, because essentially the potato is soul consciousness, really. And in this context, it's soul consciousness, if you like, the ideal potato is a soul conscious Brahmin, a soul conscious BK. Uh, that's the way our spiritual path will grow. That's the way we'll progress. Just about almost every Morley Sakar Morley Baba speaks. It's, be so conscious and then remember me. So that really is the potato. And of course, Brahma Baba was the most wonderful example we hear uh, of cooking his potato, of soul consciousness. And I think that's the aim, to become a soul conscious BK. And, you know, if I'm being really honest, if I check myself, am I soul conscious more most of the time? And actually, how do I know if I'm soul conscious? Oh, sorry, someone was chat. I missed that. Um, Um, and I think I was listening to, um, I think this question came to Sister Mahini a couple of days ago, actually. And I quite like this. Sometimes I'm doing something, but I feel a little bit nervous inside. And obviously, there's something that's come through body consciousness, or it's an old pattern, probably with me. But if I'm feeling comfortable about things, then I'm in, what we call our original qualities, which is 5 or 7, depending on which senior you listen to. Whether but yeah, we're talking about peace and love and happiness. Some people include joy in happiness, wisdom, purity, things like that. And when I'm soul conscious, obviously I'm in that experience. And for me, in English, I feel comfortable. Um, in English, I don't know how it translates really, but we say he's comfortable in his skin. So he's comfortable in his skin, meaning that he's happy with what he's doing in life, he's happy with his role and stuff like that. Uh, and when I've experienced that more and more, that does feel very comfortable. Um, so. obviously what we've heard about Brahma, what Brahma Baba, what I've heard about Brahma Baba, and particularly, those of you who don't listen to Avyakti Parivar, I encourage you because I find over the years I've been listening, a lot of very nice little stories that heard about Brahma Baba that Sister Mahini has shared, uh, that have added a little bit of richness to soul consciousness, this mystical potato of soul consciousness. Um, so we're really talking about soul consciousness and how I live my BK life. Now, of course, we know we have our Mariadas and our lifestyles, so we're not going to we're not going to go outside of those. And but sometimes some BKs feel that BK is like a restriction. So I think one of the main points that I really want to make is that it's very because we are individual and our stories are individual and how we lived our life before Baba is probably very different, and sometimes I look around the classroom or even on Zoom, and you must have this experience, even in Madhaban. You look around the room and you think, if it wasn't for Baba, I'd never be in a room with some of these souls because the life is so different, the background is so different, even sometimes what they're interested, uh, very, very different. So, but we come together because of Baba. So, and I was having a conversation with someone who's now at the center. I won't mention her name now, but she, when she said it was very helpful when she came because she was living a life a little bit different, and people who were here, myself and someone else, both said to her, "It's okay. It's okay to sort of do your Brahmin life, live your Brahmin life in a way that you feel comfortable, because that is what we've come to Baba for. We haven't come for the stress and this and that. And well, I shouldn't say, but I will. In London, I spoke to quite a few people. There was all the teachers and coordinators, and everyone said, "Oh, there's so much to do." I went to ask someone to file some papers connected to something. So we haven't got any space, and I haven't time to sort them, and it's all too busy. So I think that is a very unsoul conscious potato. Um, and I've been there myself and still do, but you know, you think of Brahma Baba, you think of Mama, those of you who've had the chance to meet the Dadis. And why I do encourage people to check in with the Avyakti Parivar is that uh, Sister Mahini's got this beautiful feeling that many of Baba's children might not have had a chance to go to Madam, or they've come later, so they never actually met the Daddies, and now all our Daddies have gone. I mean, we had the fortune here. Can you imagine? Daddy Prakashmani came on her first trip in 1977 and visited the UK. She came to Leeds. Can you imagine? And she was going to go back down to Leicester, and the car kind of was a bit dodgy because we didn't have good cars in those days. So can you imagine? Daddy Pakashmani, Sister Maureen, I think Sister Soon from Germany, uh, Daddy Janki, was Genti or Sudesh, but they all had to become Patoranis, floor ranis. They'll have to sleep on the floor because they weren't supposed to stay here. So, like myself, I've grown up with the daddies, and we've seen how they how they kind of cook their potato. Basically, uh, those of you who had the chance to meet the daddy will see that they were all soul conscious and love for Baba, but they were very different. And that's why I think it's been very beautiful, Sister. on Avivekti Parva, they have little, very short little clips of the daddies and the seniors, all our brother Jagdish and brother Niverbhai. And I think it's really healthy because we can see, yes, they're all BKs and they're all self-conscious and they're all doing exactly that we're all doing, but they're doing it in their own way. They're understanding how to live a BK life in their own way. And that is a very beautiful thing because it would be incredibly boring, wouldn't it? If we were all doing the same thing. And Sister Mahini is always saying at meetings, if everyone comes up with the same idea and someone doesn't come up with an idea that's a little bit at a tangent and people go, oh, I'm not sure about that. You know, Sister Mina often says she likes it when there's someone like that in the group because it adds a different dimension. Okay, right, enough of that. But when I came, I thought you can imagine that BK life is like a bottle, right? And I thought becoming the perfect BK this perfect BK, you sort of, whatever you like, you had to sort of, you take the top off. Let's do this demonstration. And you sort of pour yourself into the bottle and you put the top on. And then, depending on the shape of the bottle, you're in this bottle and going, oh, this is, you're feeling incredibly uncomfortable, but you think this is the way to live a BK life. Oh, and sometimes that's reinforced by certain souls. But what I learned is, um, you know, a really ideal soul-conscious potato is when I feel comfortable, I feel natural, um, and I feel authentic. I feel authentic. And it's a straight statement that we come to Baba to be ourselves. Of course, we come to Baba to be our true self, which of course we know it's our original quality. We think this is how we have to become, and I mean, I did a little bit, so much, but we look at people who are a little bit further along the path, and then we look at our seniors, and we think this is the way I have to be as a BK, and um, the reality is, I can't be like anyone else, and um, very, very early on our spiritual journey when Maureen and I came, and this is the 76, and I was driving Daddy Janky and having a bit of a complain and a moan, say, Sister Maureen's going very fast, and I don't think I'm making much progress, and blah, blah, blah. And Daddy, she said, David, I said, yes, Daddy. She said, never, never, ever compare yourself with anyone else. And she repeated it. Never, ever compare yourself with anyone else. And she actually said, and this is, gosh, this must be 45 years ago, maybe even longer, I can't really remember. She said, this is the deepest and the most subtle aspect of Baba's knowledge. And I mean, at that time, I'm not quite sure if I understood what she was saying. Um, but I do now because I heard a very interesting expression someone shared. Like, comparison kills appreciation. Comparison kills appreciation. And the conversation was something like, um, if I'm comparing this one with that one, or they can do this, I can't do this, and they do this better than me, and all things like that, I forget to see the speciality of that soul. And also, I myself respect or self-esteem for myself goes down because I'm thinking, well, this one can do this better than me. And, I'm sure I don't need to go into all of that. And now I think this self-respect. So I've often felt, and someone, said to me, David, yes, you don't do it like this and you don't do it like that, but we like you because you're just, someone actually said to me, I think it's rather a nice thing. She said, you know, the greatest gift we can give to someone is just a sort of just to allow them to be themselves without, um, I don't want to go into this too much, but there is an aspect of the not self-conscious potato, which is called control, where we think someone shouldn't say this, they shouldn't say that. Why do they speak like this? Why is it like that? Why have the sisters arranged the flowers like this in the center? Why have they brought these flowers? I can't believe they brought some curtains that color and blah blah. Actually, in Leeds, there's five of us here now and a guest, and plus another four BKs who used to run centers. And we do everything by consensus. And I often, very often, find myself in a majority of one. A minority or a majority of one. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm the only one that's thinking like this. And I very, very rarely sort of say, no, we're going to do it like this, unless I get a real feeling. And then I say, I know you, everyone's, but I just get a feeling. And then quite often, not always, but quite often they say, yeah, yeah, you're probably right. But um, when you do things by consensus, you don't have to stress because you don't have to do all the thinking, and you harvest so many more ideas. And then when everyone's got buy-in, everyone, then uh, that energy is very nice energy to work together. And I heard an expression, I think it's from out in the world, but I heard an expression the other day. If you want to reach somewhere fast, so if you want to reach somewhere fast, travel alone. Those of you who have to travel with a few people to Madhavan or here know why that's important. You travel alone. But if you want to travel far, so if you want to travel a longer distance, travel together. And actually, I've never heard that expression before, but I liked it very much. And we know one of the greatest stimuli for, for for seeing our scars and our nature is being around BKs. And I do
Uh,
remember,
Brother David, this time I think
and
there are
this is
sometimes
why
really cuts, but this time
if
I mean I couldn't get what you're saying actually because it's cut for a while. Maybe just for me, I don't know. Can you repeat your? Oops, he's gone. Okay, so as he has advised, we can have our drill. Oh, here you are again. Can you speak, please? We can't hear you. Okay, we remember Baba. Your mic seems to be open, but your sound doesn't come through.
Let's try that now.
Ah,
Any?
yes, yes,
Okay.
it's okay now.
Okay. So this is where you go, help, Baba. No. Okay. So another aspect, I forgot what I was saying now.
So maybe you can continue from, I just heard from you, you gave this saying, if you want to reach somewhere fast,
Okay.
travel alone, and if
You
you want
travel
to,
alone.
yeah, together. If
Yeah.
you want to
Okay. And
go
if
far,
you want to
yes,
reach far, you travel together.
yes. After
So
that, please.
okay. So what I was saying that when you travel together with BKs, it's I once heard someone said it was like swimming with sharks, and not in a bad way, but all the sun scars come out, and then you can see what you need to change, and you can see everyone else's sun scars, and then you gradually start to learn. Okay, like Baba once said, and most BKs don't have 99 defects, but you start the body conscious potato says start seeing defects of people, weaknesses, and the soul conscious potato sees the soul, but it sees the original qualities of the soul and not the stuff. And I've heard that Daddy Prakashmani, Daddy Kamarka had this sort of slogan to use: see the best and forget the rest. See the best, forget the rest. So, and okay, the fun thing is potatoes. Okay, now back to well, just jumping back to the potato. So, those of you who like potatoes and those of you who visited Mudderbun, I don't think I can remember one day has gone past without potato subji or some form of potato being on the menu. So the potato clearly has a deep spiritual significance in the BK family. Now, the thing about potatoes is, and those of you who grow potatoes, they sprout, they have eyes. I don't know if that translates. Oh, I should have brought a potato, shouldn't I? Anyway, potato, they have eyes, and then when they're ready to sort of grow, they sprout, and the shoot comes up. That's when the potato is going to grow. If you're lucky, you might have one eye on the potato, you might have two on the potato, and if you're lucky, your potato might have a third eye, the opening of the third eye, brothers and sisters. So that's why I, I like third eye open. We know two phys, and it's the spiritual eye that will see the goodness and move away the negative, that'll see the best and will forget the rest. Or as someone said to me, oh, not just forgetting, David, sometimes you have to manage the rest if you're in a group. So, and I heard someone interpret forgetting, not that you pretend that you haven't influenced by that, so that my vision for that soul and the feeling for that soul doesn't change even after they've said something that maybe wasn't so sweet. And I had this happen very recently, and I had to practice all my emergency maneuvers. I think interesting. Well, it was interesting because I got myself to the point where no.